I will get you some coffee.
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 Coffee. Oh, hi. Hey, everybody. I'm here, barely on time. Welcome to the Grizzly gaming stream. I don't know why we're having an argument over coffee, which is where I yell coffee, wife yells coffee back, and eventually she makes coffee. It's great. Hopefully it doesn't take too long, though. Art Gaines is here. What's up, man? Welcome. It's funny when I started these streams on Fridays, it wasn't that heavy of a day. It was nice. Now work has decided that I get to stay later every Friday. And children sometimes. I love those punks, but my God, today they were rough. They were not easy on their old man. But yes, we'll get through it. We're gonna have some fun. It's gonna be more of a Foxhole oriented stream. Video games are always fun. Oh man, one of these days too, I gotta just like troll Steam for new games to check out and whatnot, because there are a lot of good ones out there. I wrote an article on Spellbound. Ooh, it sounds familiar. What is Spellbound again? Oh,
Read the article.
I could read the article. Gaines, is that on?
Yeah, I think it is.
Oh, Foxhole. Well, hang on. Yeah, you should. Why the heck not? Let's watch it again, shall we? I don't care, because we were going to be hopelessly speculating about crazy crap. Let's do it. Let's watch the Airborne trailer for the billionth time. I don't care. It's so cool. If I could find it. Is this it? Are you what I'm looking for? Come on, hands up. You're going too quickly.
Do you have a chair?
No, that was the problem. Okay. Here we go. You guys are article publishes tomorrow, I hope.
Oh, tomorrow. Okay.
We should read it on stream or something crazy. Oh, tomorrow's the creepy stuff. Ooh, gotta get that stuff going. Woo. All right, shh, wife. Here we go. Yeah, you're born here. So, just to remind everyone what we're excited about for next year in Foxhole. Here we go, baby. Yeah. Oh yeah. Look at all that vaguely. Black skin. Yeah. Hang on, everybody. Now, from the beginning, and not me weird random noises that were probably very. Look at all this military craziness. Blow them up. Go. Now, the astute observers will notice when we actually get into in-game footage. There's in-game footage. Yes. I don't remember it being. Slow down. I think I read it up. Speed it up. Here we go. No way.
But again, that doesn't have until next summer.
Yes. So that means we have all the time in the world, children, all the time in the world to do wild. What's wrong with you?
If what's happening, we'll be over there by that time.
Yeah, maybe.
Your cousins joining.
That could be fun.
Just in time for the Airborne.
Yeah, we will see what happens, but got to get to that point.
I know.
All right. So we're gonna flip here. So that. And we seem to have lost the other person, but that's okay.
I'm going to go make coffee now.
You make coffee.
Happy.
I've slowly hooked my wife on this game. I don't know how. But I introduced her to combat the other day, and like an idiot, I didn't film any of it, so I don't have any B-roll of it. But she went crazy trying to blow pillboxes and dying over and over again.
I was flanking.
It was great. Just flank, bro. That's data damage, we'll put it. So,
It's not like I played 12 hours last week.
for Arcane's enjoyment, Foxhole, yes, is a massive multiplayer game with persistent war going on. So they have wars last usually about a month. The longest war, okay, what's going on in it? I just froze. That was weird. Longest war, so the average war, which is like a round. So if you can think of a Call of Duty round, or shall we say a Battlefield round's more accurate. In this game, it's so large, one round, if you will, is shortest one, I think, was like 28 days or something like that. So it's usually about a month to 2 months. To give you kind of an idea, I introduced some third-party stuff last time. Let me show you. Foxhole live map info. Here we go. You guys like it when I just make weird noises at the screen, right? Yeah. What in the heck is going on?
You know what's funny though?
What's funny, wife? Sorry.
Playing Foxhole with Hogan's Heroes on in the background.
That would be funny. So, as you see, this game has a vague like World War I, World War II aesthetic, but it's in not a fantasy world, but like a side world, if you will. Not fantasy because there's no magic or anything like that, but it's a separate world going through a constant world war. So, if I may, constant world war. So, as you can see, this is the map. It is as large as it looks. Each one of those hexes that you see there are, I forget the exact square mileage, but are quite large and have a certain amount of players in them, and they're different shards of the different servers, if that makes any sense. Let's see here. Hopefully it'll show you everything I'm about to show you. Right now, for example, my wife and I have been building things in Fisherman's Row. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Brave, will you calm down? What? There's the first coin town, but she was under instruction by Wardens. Calm down. I don't need all that many updates. I'm not that insane. Oh my God, stop. Oh God. Your Brave is crazy, wife. I don't know. You don't know your internet browser is nuts. It's going to tell me everything that changed. Okay. So, and then other resources. Could you check to make sure I'm not getting a black screen right now? And major labels. So,
Major labels.
Major labels. So, right now, my wife and I actually have a facility where we're making mortar shells, items for other things that make other things, which is
good.
And some assembly pads for making light vehicles. And I'm planning on making a tank assembly pad, which is so we can upgrade a tank. Oh my God. I don't care about the Little Mercy right now.
There should be a way to drop the...
I don't know why it's doing it. Make sure you can see what I see. Oh my.
Yeah, I did. It's showing.
It's showing right now, though. I want to see right now. Okay. So right here.
Oh,
and
it is showing.
Right. Lab technical.
It's showing right now.
Oh, beautiful. I just wanted to check. I have a little PTSD from last time where we had a dark screen and I had no idea. Just a little bit of PTSD. And this game will give you PTSD too. So let's see here. To give you guys an example of the distances we're
Driving
dealing
in
with.
Memphis.
So let me see here. We have some tools. Oh my God. To work with. From here to here is about just under around 2,000 meters. So the hexes are about 2,000 meters. If you, was that 2 kilometers long, abouts. And you can imagine you have a lot of space to work with in each individual hex. There are vehicles to build. There are weapons to build. You see these things right here? Let's zoom in to show you what I'm. Those were actually made by players. So everything in this game, lines and the actual bases you take, are actually built by players. So
like
those
you take the harbors, right? You take the
you rebuild those.
You rebuild.
But the defenses and everything, like these 3 artillery things, probably have a mess of crap around it. Oh my gosh! And a player actually had. Well, players actually had to make all of them. And it's persistent for everybody. I put down a pillbox. Everyone can see it. That kind of thing. And
there you go, going about
it's always those pillboxes. And it is a top-down shooter, which was, oh my god. I'm going to, as much as this map is fun, I might have to turn it off. What?
Those notifications do not show up.
Oh, he's just making weird.
It's just going to make that noise.
Every time you guys hear that noise, that's this website telling me every time something's changed. So someone takes a base, someone blows something up. The website's like,
you run over a team player, it's going to tell you.
No, thank God it's not doing that.
No,
we get it like constantly. For example, if we...
that just shows up in the public chat.
You see these numbers here, chat? That's how many players are dying an hour in this hex. 578 an hour. That's actually kind of low for Callahan's Passage. For the entire war so far, there have been 245,000 casualties for the Wardens in that hex and 287,000 casualties in that hex. I think we're up to 5 million casualties altogether. And let's all take a moment to laugh at the 2 Collies who managed to kill themselves completely. How many kilometers is this?
Put a 6 of them an hour, 5 of them middle.
Yeah.
What
Everyone,
did they do?
Let's
this was
laugh
the
at these
highest
guys.
one so far.
We gotta laugh at this lone Collie who killed himself here. How many kilometers is he from the front? We'll go this way to be fair.
Did he run over himself?
4, about 5 kilometers from the front, and he managed to kill himself.
Did he run over the vehicle? No, if you
Right.
get out
He could have drowned.
If you get out of the vehicle yourself and you get out too quick by your tire.
I might have ran over my wife once or twice.
Don't worry, you got thrown off a boat.
You were on the wrong part of the train. It's
I was
not
saying
my
hello
fault.
to it. Don't want to tickle the tracks.
It was actually a lag issue. Funny enough, she popped. It was over here, and the train ride was wrong. Ran her over. Yes, there's trains in this game. I have not driven any of the big ones because they're like a late game super unit you can make. Yeah, I should. You know what? We might as well show that. So, Foxhole. I don't search for anything kinky, so it should be fine. Thanks, wife. Oh, hey, there's my other stream right there about Foxhole. How nice.
Sometimes I don't know what the AI will show up.
That's actually pretty fair.
I asked Leo. They always use those signs, those woo signs.
Yeah, look at these big trains. That was like an update ages ago. Trains, logistics facilities. That was back when we were in Missouri. They introduced trains. Oh man, what is tisk? Where is trains? Are you trying to make it I know. Inferno update trailer. Boop. AI, I don't need you. I know it's hard for you to accept, but most people don't want or need you around. But it's my entire existence. Oh, not my problem. Here. Oh, damn. Not that I want to give IGN anything, but they're fine. They have their launch trailer ready to go. See, well, yeah, you know what? Oh yeah! They've gotten better at updating trailers. Hey, you built that. Oh man, they've added him. Yeah, this is all run by players. Oh, burn him! Burn him! Oh, that was the pitch thing. There's the big train. That's wrong. So, always entertaining.
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah. You saw that big
How
gun.
much did that take to make?
You want to know how much the big grong?
Yeah.
Okay.
How many BMATs did it?
Wow, okay, we could do it on the stream. Let's see here. I don't
I like-
know.
I'm-
It won't mean anything to them though, because
I know.
you got. I will explain it to them, I suppose.
Just gotta learn how BMATs are.
How much resources can't spell does it take to make a rail cannon in Foxhole, or as the long range artillery car. The long range artillery car. Oh, this is not always an up to date site. Sorry in advance. This is not going to be accurate. I apologize for everyone watching.
Why is everything have to pop up like that?
There we go. Here we go. Look at it. Okay. Don't look at the weird commercials. I have no control over them. Okay, let's see. Holy crap, it's even more expensive than I realized. Now, this means nothing to you guys. Absolutely nothing.
Look how many hours.
But this should help you. So, when you actually gather all the
I wanna go make
resources,
coffee.
right? It takes 72 hours. 72 hours on the on the construction pad. Like, remember how I said our facility has a construction pad? Well, we don't have the pad that even has the upgrade. Like, you have to build the bigger pad, and then you have to build an upgrade for that pad. That's also expensive. And then once you finally have all those resources, which, by the way, that looking at that resource list and knowing what each one takes, weeks to a month of effort to just make one of those rail cannons for probably a decent sized faction. Like, one guy would probably not be able to get all that done before the end of the war.
Imagine building it, finally getting at the end of the war, and it's done.
I've had events
And
like that
then
happen.
You don't need to use it at all.
Yeah, it's true. Everything goes bye-bye at the end of the war, unfortunately.
That would suck. All your
Yep.
effort and time's like, well, why did you?
But to give you guys kind of an understanding about how intense this game is about this kind of thing. As you saw with the logistics one, like, there's nothing in this game that's free. A player had to make everything. So even
the
like
maintenance materials alone.
they don't know what that means.
I know they
So everything you build in this game also degrades after a certain amount of time. I think it starts in 24 hours. So you have to make something to prevent everything from breaking down. Isn't that great? Oh, it's a pain in my butt. And you have to take everything to the front line. So you build stuff in the back lines, you gather resources, then you build them. Well, excuse me. First, you gather resources. Then you refine the resources. Then you build stuff with that resources, or you refine those resources again to build something more complicated.
Like pipes.
Pipes, yes. Apparently pipes are the most complicated thing in the world. And then you finally build the thing you want. But then you have to transport it to the front, where on the way it could be stolen by an enemy. Just the other day, my wife and I were moving stuff around, and then I looked on the map and I saw one of our poor guys get taken over by a Collie pirate. 07. We chased that guy down, but we couldn't find him. And then ended up getting shot by coastal artillery. See, that's what's fun about this game. Why I bring it up. See, it took 20 minutes for me to just kind of describe what goes on and how intense this game is.
But yet it is so addicting.
It is. And you saw, right, those to also explain where we're coming from, so we can give you the full circle of events.
You'll never want to leave your house.
My wife is totally addicted, and that's good in this case. All right, so let's see here. Wow, it actually takes the enriched fuel. So steel construction materials. Like, let me just walk you real quick.
Know how to make those fuel.
You want to walk? Okay, so let's walk over what you need for these steel construction materials. Let's click.
Oh gosh.
Steel construction materials. To produce the steel construction materials, look at this list of crap you need. Right?
Heavy oil.
You need 3 processed construction materials, 200 coke, 65 sulfur, heavy oil, and then electricity. So you have to run your generators with gas or coal to keep it all running.
And you have to
build this building right here.
You have to have 9 NV.
See, but remember that part where I said you have to refine and refine again? This is what I'm talking about. This coke, you can't find it on the map. You have to
make it from coal.
Yeah, you have to get coal. Right? You have to collect coal on the map. And then you have to put it into a coal refinery that you've built or somebody else has built and they'll let you use. Hook it up to a generator, run it after filling it with gas or coal, and poop, it spits out coke.
And
cocaine
what does it take to make the refinery?
Yeah, it says this. Oh, that's right. Construction materials. Children, how do you get construction materials in this game? Well, hot diggity dog.
You gotta make them.
Well, construction materials, you first need another building called a materials factory. That'll, after you give it salvage, which you can find on the map, which will give you a construction material. However, the materials factory requires
B-mats? No.
B-mats.
Okay, B-mats.
The basic building material. At last.
That's how it starts.
And from that, you need to collect salvage and bring it to a refinery. Well, we finally came down to the bottom thing, which is a limited structure that only a few buildings in the entire world map have. Like, there's only a few hexes that have them, and players can't build these. This is how they make sure you always have to bring things to the front, and you're always moving things back and forth, which is both amazing and drives me crazy. So that I have just led you all the way back down that chain to the first thing you would start with if you wanted steel materials in this game. And that was just one for 286 of those, and then all the other crap that are just as complicated to make. Let me see here if I remember. Count down 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Not there yet. 8. Now, keep in mind, right? I didn't go down the list of all the other things you had to do.
That's the first thing.
Right. Rare alloys is another one. That's
is that the
fun.
one like rare metals that just
so you know,
which you could find every now and then
at scrap fields. So you saw how you have to collect scrap, right? You it's like a mining game.
Sometimes you might get some aluminum.
You mine them. You might have some machinery to make it go faster, and occasionally you might get a rare material that can be refined into a rare alloy. Oh my god. Anyway, these cannons are fun though. Like the Collies, the Colonials, the other faction, call theirs Grong, which is a reference to Lord of the Rings. And you might remember that is the massive. Yeah. So well, it's almost more. I should have showed it, but anyway. It's the massive ram with the huge dragon head. It's all magical and breaks stuff. I'm just pointing out the Collies recognize that they are in fact orcs and goblins, and I'm glad they understand that.
It. Like when they kill you, they will drag your body, and
I might do that too. But hey,
they'll go to somebody and says, "Hey, she needs a medic," when they'll pound your guy.
It's pretty funny.
It's like, really, I thought you were being nice. No, of course not.
No.
Why? Because I'm evil.
It's fun stuff. Anyway, so that's preliminaries. The latest update was the infantry update, but the important update that's leading to the airborne update, well, I'll show you guys because I'm just assuming you guys.
You're just a very generous man.
I'm assuming I'm going with everyone's like arcanes and doesn't know what's going on. Naval update. I can't spell again.
At least you didn't spell
Foxhole. Shut up. Oh, I definitely spelled it wrong. Yeah. Okay. I can't scroll down because I'm using this.
Do you spell welfare or welfare?
Wolf. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Yeah. Yeah. Look at those. There's like 20 players on that battleship to make them function right. They're like filling skeleton crew at 10 or 11.
Pretty good.
Anyway, look at that crazy. Poor goblins and their battleships have no idea how to fight the Collies and their navals. Navals are belly button. Should see that. Yes. Whee!
Run him over. I want to grab this run over. This randomly brings me with
Look at that. And we can sing the harvester song all day long. Okay, good. And remember, children, you remember the Airborne one, right? And it was bombing the battleships and whatnot. And people keep showing up and leaving. I hope I'm not being that boring. I don't care.
YouTube does weird things. Don't worry about it.
I don't really care anyway.
You're
So-
already got like 80 subs. So
You guys are weird, but I like all of you. So, well, no,
Says
that's a
the
lie.
guy
I'm sure there's some people I hate, but that's okay.
They probably hate you too.
Hate watching. Oh man.
Yeah, that's like honesty.
Yeah. So, what's exciting, as you can see, the extreme variety of vehicles and weapons and crap that's in this game. It's a great time. Do I want an FPS version of this game? Darn straight I do. That sounds like a blast, but you know what?
Literally.
I mean, don't you? Wouldn't that be crazy? It would be cool, but it would also be a very technically challenging thing because even at a top-down perspective, the game can chug sometimes. They're working on a new engine because they're making a medieval version of this game called Anvil Empires, and they have a whole new engine attached to it so that they can allow more players on screen and not have to have the shards where you have to load between shards. So
it's the medieval in that they have horses.
yes, they do have horses. In fact, wife. Do you want to see that? Yes, I do this stream more for my wife than anybody else. Okay. Should I do a YouTube search or that search?
Do that search.
That search?
I don't know. YouTube might have some limitations.
You know, this Siege Camp is the one we want.
Okay.
Siege campers of should actually.
There's
be
a
cool.
search that you could do within.
Yeah, you're right.
That would be safer than.
What? This is literally the Siege Camp is the name of the
I know.
company that makes these games, babe.
You spelled Anvil wrong.
Oh, I just added an extra V. Calm down.
2 V's make a difference.
Here we go. There we go. Here we go. So here we go. Yeah, each one of those is a player. They're working on it. It's very early build scheme right now. But look at that! It's that game, Anvil Empires, is like, as I understand it, from people who played it, it's like a cross between Valheim and good stuff. Except you're an individual little archer man. Cavalry. You also have to like build up your land from scratch. Again, emphasis. Every one of those little dudes is a player. And by player, I'm not referring to they're good with women, though they might be. I don't know. I'm saying they're individual.
Now I got the Anvil song.
Oh.
Whoa, what happened?
Whoa. What's going on there? so loud. Wow.
Never
Okay.
trust YouTube.
YouTube, it's not that kind of stream. Anyway, so that's cool. Now, Siege Camp is one of those game companies that's old school because they started this back in 2017 and they've just kept adding to Foxhole ever since. That's why the game is so much crap to it. And they're still adding to it even as they make Anvil Empires, which I respect. I don't know how they're making money though. I mean, I assume like new people pop in, but like the player, like it stayed very steady at 10,000 players congruently playing. But I see privates on there all the time, like new people all the time. So I guess new people keep buying the game. They don't charge for any of their updates. You only have to buy the game once, and you have access to everything. And I kind of want to give Siege Camp more money. There's no method to do so. I've already given them all the money they really let you do. They need merch or something. Like I don't want to ruin. It's like one of those things that I need to stream on when I really thought about it, because I'm like, I want Siege Camp to get some of those dollars that modern game companies get that I don't think they deserve. Right? Not all the shops and whatnot. I want Siege Camp to get some of those kinds of dollars, but I don't know how they could do it without breaking the dynamic of the game. And they probably have religious Gamergate vibes against it, or just religious game dev vibes against anything that would be like in-game shop related. You know what I mean? They seem very insistent on not letting that crap happen, and I really respect it.
Do you blame them though?
Oh, I don't blame them. But, I also look at other games like Deep Rock Galactic, which pull it off. And everyone's kind of happy with the way they do their financial system, and they get more money and they can keep producing and all the rest. And Helldivers 2 actually does that pretty well. Doesn't feel too bad. That part was never a problem, ironically. It was Sony screwing with everything, and then their last gameplay updates weren't very good. They built up their space station and then it turned out to be lame. And I was very sad that it was not some kind of hub. But
Some hub.
we finally get to the meat of the matter. I should actually we're 32 minutes in. I think I'm allowed to talk about what was in my title. This stream is a wishful stream. Now, I've made videos like this in the past for Star Citizen and other things, and they've actually come to pass. Like I talked about the idea of a medical Pisces before that was ever a thing, and I was happy for that. So this is a wishful, get the idea into the metaverse, into people's brains, so that some dev hears about it and goes, yes, that is a great idea. As you can see with the stuff with Foxhole, it's strongly based on the World Wars and real life weaponry and all that. All of it's fictional, but you can see where they're getting their influences. So I want them to get their influence, right? You saw how we already have the big ships, battleships, destroyers, big stuff, right? And now you see that next year we're getting airplanes, bombers, fighters, all the fun stuff. And everyone's already going to aircraft carriers, huh? When? What? So I want to up the ante and say, since everybody is already talking about aircraft carriers, I declare, let me switch things up here. I declare I want, that's right. What? Well, I should have checked this out before I made this my big moment.
What?
This is not, what part of submarine aircraft carrier did you not understand? Whatever search engine this is.
Okay, do you see what?
Brave. There we go. What the heck is this? This is fake. Don't look at this. Where's the real one? I had the real one somewhere. You know what? Freaking submarine aircraft carriers. If you make me say in history, I will slap you. Because this is actually a concept that was made by more than one. Yeah, here we go. This is what came up last time I did this. No, You would think they would start with the real ones before they gave me the fake ones. So here we go. Yeah, here's a picture of it. This is the lovely cover photo we have. This is actually a British aircraft carrier submarine. This was a little scout plane. This little baby scout plane. So the concept for these in real life was a couple of different versions. So this is one of the earlier versions. They would have airtight aircraft carrier bay in that little upper section you see up there. I don't know if you can see my mouse pointer, but I'll bring it up. Right. And it would be sealed, and then they would surface, and they would open it up, and they would unfold the wings of their little pontoon plane and have a little launch pad thing. It's be a catapult that launches it into the air. And it would
launch pontoon planes?
Yeah, the little pontoon plane. And that was the whole point, was rather than having like the modern day
see that happen.
modern day aircraft carrier where you have to have an airfield on a giant boat, right? The submarine, the plane had the pontoon. So all the plane had to do was land in the water next to the submarine. And you can see that little crane doodad, little, oh my God, where am I? I'm lost. Little crane doodad right here, right? It would pick it up out of the water, put it in the spot, they'd fold up the wings, and they'd put it back inside the submarine. Now, obviously, there's some concerns in real life for this because rough weather, you wouldn't be able to land the little pontoon plane, right? So you got to plan when you use it.
So what they land it?
They would land it on the water. They would just see it's a float plane here. That's the catapult.
Oh wow!
So that was put it on the thing, and they'd fold it up and put it back away. It's a pretty ingenious design, isn't it? And funny enough, there were multiple versions.
I didn't see it happen.
Yeah, there were multiple versions of this in real life. So the Japanese came up with the most advanced, biggest version of it. They made one that could carry 3 float planes, also dive bombers. So I think they could also have been torpedo bombers, depending on how they wanted to, set them up. But it was too late in the war for them to do anything with them. They're great design, but again, too late in the war. Wouldn't have done anything. It would have been interesting if they had them at the beginning of the war to mess around with, but right. So why am I bringing this up? I think the astute may understand. You see, in Foxhole right now, there are 2 submarines. They're faction specific. There is the show you. No. Foxhole Submarine. Here we go. Vasa de los. Why did this come up? I'm entertained by it. Okay. I shouldn't be, though. I need my actual. Okay. I need to not use whatever the poop Brave is using. Brave. Foxhole Wiki. Where are you? I need some visual aids. Aids! Oh, why? I can't help it. English uses everything the same. Bada-bum, 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 boom. Vehicles. And then you guys get to see the sheer amount of vehicles there are. Like, look. Yeah, this is all categories, by the way. These aren't individual vehicles. These are all categories. Coffee. Oh. So as you can see, there's a number of armored cars. There's a number of little tinkets. There's 3 of those.
Let me get some wine.
A couple landing APCs. Ooh, this is good coffee. Half tracks. All kinds of things. Don't ask.
It was on stream. Monday's stream.
Yep. There we go. Where did I miss the boats, or did they not have the boats listed on this? They should have the boats listed, I declare. Are they high? Oh, there it is. Naval vehicles. Bear with me, folks. So here we go. Gunboats, resource, submarines, baby. Submarines. That's the one. As you can see, we have 2 submarines available, and they are faction specific, and there are 2 factions of Foxhole. So if you went with the Wardens, you could have Lenaki's submarine, a little baby submarine. Look how cute it is. It was meant for 8 to 10 people. It's got a few torpedo tubes. It's probably close as you would think to like classic gunboat, or classic World War II looking U-boat. Look at it, it's so cute. Aw. Right. And yes, that is the one access to the Wardens. And but this is the Trident. This is what the Collies have access to. I'm a little jealous. Now, the Collies will tell you that it's an underperformer dud, but I would say that's because they don't know how to handle naval warfare anyway. Sorry, Collies, but you guys have been sucking at that lately. And no, it's not because the Trident can't turn as fast. There we go. As you can see, a much bigger submarine.
I have a harder time understanding the Collies when they talk versus the Wardens.
Probably the same people, wife, but I'm entertained that you're already getting racist against them, even though they're,
I know, but
it's hard to see.
even like some of them.
But that's a gun. That is a gun. Let me zoom in again. That is a gun. An artillery piece. They get to shoot things. They have an artillery piece, and they have this little doodad here. They can put a vehicle in it. They can put all kinds of crap in it. Very, very useful. I mean,
I got so distracted by the train.
Everyone look at the train. Woo.
Wait, is that specifically for coal?
Yes. I think it's actually like part of the train, a separate car.
I thought it was a separate car.
I think I'm pretty sure it's like built the same. I don't know. Don't ask me. I haven't got, because again, those freaking trains are so expensive. I have never one before. I have looked at it as it. So the funny thing is, because mankind can't accept a good thing when they have one, the Collies are very, very jealous of the Nazi submarine. It is fast. It is submarine. Very nice and important. But I can tell you, been on the Warden side and been around the big boats and hearing about it. We get messed up by Trident submarines if they, ambush properly and don't come running at you like a weirdo.
What is that little thing?
Does it shoot $200 custom little cartridges at 10,000? No, but it shoots at 120 millimeter, which will blow up my facility within 200 meters. I think it's the range. What is its range? Let's find out its range. What? Wait a minute. I appear to be. No. Aha! There we go. Golly. I'm such a. Yeah, it has 120 millimeter cannon.
Wait, go down, go down.
What's up? You just want to look how pretty it is? Yep. Okay. So, if we zoom, we do the zoomies. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Zoom.
6 hours.
Very big ship. Don't ask how long it takes to make all those whole platings. Yeah, that's okay. All right. So here we go. I gotta get back. All right. Yes, it has a 225 meter range, which if I had the map up, I'd show you. But that's a long range for something that can submerge and get off the radar and then pop up where it wants to shoot and then submerge and escape again. That's a very useful ability. It's been a pain to deal with. But that's really good. I have to advertise my wife's coffee, but that's delicious. Anyway.
I have a tutorial on my channel somewhere.
So, there's this thing. Wardens are a bit jelly of the Battleship submarine and its multiple capabilities. Unlike the other submarine, too, it can reload in a lot easier of places. Like, you have to... I forget, there's a very
How many people
set...
does it take to reload?
Well, there's like some set stuff you have to do to get it to the point where you can rearm a submarine in this game. Because nothing in this game is easy.
You always have to have somebody else to help you.
Yeah. But their submarine, as you can see, could have an actual pallet drop inside of it. Meaning it could be just, you can have a vehicle in there. You can do all kinds of crap. You can reload at sea. It's So... Right. But the Collies, enjoy the much more PvP orientated. Not it's all PvP, but the other submarine, the Trident, is much better for sitting around ambushing. Collies don't have a lot of patience, and to be
No,
fair,
they don't.
it's because most of the new players start in Collie in the Colonials, and then they tend to move to Wardens or get really higher up in the Colonials. It's a funny thing
Collies
how
are
it works out.
really animalistic. Maybe that's very cool.
So they like the fact that the Naki is nimble, fast for a submarine, and able to go pew, pew, and easier to hide from things like destroyers and whatnot. However, they both have their uses. I propose, though, as you've seen those multitude of vehicles, there's no other situation in this game where you don't have like more equivalents on both factions. But these larger vehicles take a long time to produce. Like a long freaking time.
6 hours for this one, yep.
Yeah. But no, like I mean game dev time. Like you see
right.
how massive those assets were, and just
Yeah.
getting them to all work in game, and then getting them to be balanced in game, and that's a nightmare. Like get these $200 custom loaded cartridges that Art Cans is talking about.
Every time I see the word turret, I always read it first as a turd.
It could be a turd turret if you want it to be. Anyway, so
color through.
With the Airborne update, we have a unique situation. Ooh, because you see,
right after that, you just want to say
Airborne turds. Everyone, well, what do you think happens when the Airborne trooper can't hold his pants? Anyway,
he drops.
You put me in that position, and somehow I went with it. That was dumb. Now it's on the webs. Some alien from the future is going to look at that one day and go, what wild philosophical things did these humans talk about? And then the turd cannon.
This is how you know you're a parent.
There is lots of poop involved in parenting.
Conversation.
Trust me, you get over it. Like it's completely different when it's your own child's poop. Not as big of a deal. Well, that's actually entertaining. She handles every disgusting fluid known to man, but snot comes around, she loses her mind. Like calls me at work. Hey, could you clean your son's nose? I'm 20 miles away, woman. What do you want from me? Yeah.
Can you tell him to clean it?
Anyway. So, my proposal then, because they'll probably be adding, I don't think this would just be like an update after the Airborne update. They always have smaller updates after their bigger updates to like fill in the gaps.
Turd cannon.
It's a turd, yes, fill in the turd cannon gaps. And
I would hate to be the guy on that duty.
This may. It seems to me that what the devs are going for are two different classes of submarines. One larger one with a unique item aboard, like the artillery cannon that can reload at sea. And then a smaller, more nimbler one that's more focused towards anti-ship combat and nothing else. It makes sense then to give the Collies their own version of the Naki sub, but of course, make it a little different. Make it a little visually different. There's make more like a diesel looking one, for example. Maybe make it a little bigger, maybe look a little smaller. They can figure it out. And then give the Wardens their own big submarine with a unique feature. And I'm thinking with Airborne, that means Airborne aircraft carrier submarine. Part of me thinks that'll never happen because the Collies would lose their freaking mind if that happened. And you can point out, hey, you got a battleship submarine that go. It would also depend on how useful airplanes are. And it would also depend on their plans for how they want to balance things. And from my estimation, they already seem to be going down the route I'm going to be suggesting. Because if the airplanes can fly across the entire map, what do you need an aircraft carrier for? Get what I'm saying? So I think they already want to limit the range to a couple kilometers, to 4 or 5 kilometers at most. That would be 2.5 hexes, something like that. And this just makes sense because in their not the trailer, but their talk about the trailer, they talked about how because this will be the first vehicles in game, little fighter jets that you saw, that can be operated by one person. This is and fire like everything else, even your little machine gun jeeps. Nothing has a gun for the driver. You have to have a driver. You have to have a gunner.
That's
You have
like
to-
the machine gun jeep.
Yeah, that was.
That
I
really
might have.
showed you could do that. It's just one person.
Oh no. We might have gotten into a very one-sided duel for the super tank while we had a little machine gun jeep. It was very entertaining.
Those people-
Boat, just saying. And they didn't do what I said, what I told them to, and
They weren't
suddenly
even
they all
talking.
died.
Even talking to you, so that's it.
Anyway, it was still kind of funny to watch them instantly explode.
Neither
Neither of us were in the car; they just exploded.
I had just gotten out of the car. Then all of a sudden, next thing I know, because I was about to go for the gun, boom! I'm like, well, good thing I didn't touch it. The other guy went on.
It was entertaining. Honestly, the 75 millimeter shell that tank used on our
That was
that was probably harder, worth more than the Jeep to destroy. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of funny to
the
think
Jeep
about.
that we upgraded.
We have another one. We have all the resources we need to
I know,
upgrade
I
it. Don't
just-
don't be sad. I'll give you another machine gun Jeep. We'll get Arcane's on, and he can join us on our shenanigans.
That sounds like fun.
Actually, that
That
sounds
sounds
like
like
fun.
fun.
Yeah. You want to get blown up by a super tank Arcanes? Anyway,
Not every mission is going to be a suicide mission,
so
right?
Yeah.
Right?
It's faster to die than respawn than drive all the way
No,
back.
that's
Anyway, and you wonder why there's 5 million casualties. Anyway, so what they were what they were hinting at already was that there would need to be a ground crew to support these fighters. So this tells me 2 or 3 things. The first one is range. Range is going to be very small. The fuel is going to be used up really fast, and they're going to have to come back periodically to the airfields to rearm, repair, and refuel. I don't know why that last one comes.
Resuscitate.
Probably. The second one was that the armament's going to be very limited, so they'll only have enough for, say, a couple of strafes if they're strafing the ground, which is really realistic for real life aircraft. Like most people don't know how fast those those Spitfires, those BF 109s, they'd run out of bullets. Like if they rocked and went all crazy instead of like doing bursts, they'd be out of bullets in like 10-15 seconds. That's how fast their rate of fire was and how few bullets they were able to have on their plane. Now, often it would also because they'd have like a crazy amount of guns. Like the Spitfire had like 4 50 caliber machine guns on it. That's a lot of guns. That's a lot of ammo. It gets heavy. It would weigh down your fighter. Oddly too, once bombs and ammo had been used up, the fighter would the plane would actually operate differently because it would get so much lighter after all its ordnance and its fuel got more and more used. It would get lighter and lighter and lighter. Funny things you don't think
That's
about.
kind of interesting, actually.
Yeah. Especially the bombs, because the bombs are really heavy.
Yeah. Would you want to get rid of the bombs first and then use it? No.
But we already saw
Easier to maneuver too. Like if you get rid of the bombs first and then use the.
one would think.
One would think.
One would think. But so this is where it comes into play. Where would in a game like this, something like this even be useful, right? Would be if the range is so limited that you need to get your aircraft close enough to strike stuff. But it would also be useful that the enemy doesn't know you're there to counter you in time. Right. This is also, they have this capability with the little battleship things, the little pew pew 120 millimeters. So I think it's fair, but you would not only need to give them in the update right after that, you would have to give out standard aircraft carriers to both sides. If not, uh, maybe even have what I think they should, if I'm fair, and I'm looking at this right, if the developers were to do this and they weren't just looking for that sexy screen of we have submarine aircraft carriers, bitches, right? Then what they should do is give both factions in one update aircraft carriers, and I think both because of the size that we're dealing with. Most people don't know this, but in World War II, World War One, no, so World War II, excuse me, interwar ones as well, and they should actually take inspiration from the interwar era. So funky looking that they'd be really visually interesting on screen. There was different tiers of aircraft carriers. There were towards the later part of the war, there were much smaller aircraft carriers designed for submarine patrols. So they would join in with the convoys going across the Atlantic, and they would take these smaller aircraft carriers with them that were designed to send out their planes and find the submarines and blow them up, or at least tell the destroyers where to go to find them. Because remember, those submarines would stay under the water for an excessively long amount of time, and they were really visible from above, if you know what I mean. Even when they were using their periscopes, right, you could kind of see that big shape if it was a clear enough day. It depended on, the moment, the day, and how close they were to the surface. But that's how they started dealing with the submarines and getting to the point where the wolf packs weren't so useful, was they started adding these mini aircraft carriers to the convoys. And of course, they broke the code that the submarine guys were using. They kind of cheated. But this really helped. So I would think these types of aircraft carriers would suit the Foxhole thing quite well. Maybe something like 10 planes, right? And only being able to take fighter bombers. Not those big bombers you saw, but like fighter bombers. Take a few bombs with them, select targets, maybe even select targets on naval. Good times. But you would still need to make them useful, right? Now, if they something that would be fun is if they made them, you don't want to touch too much because there's already like these some landing ship capabilities, in my opinion, just to make them interesting. But you don't want to step on the toes of the other ships they've already made. So I would think one update where they give both sides these aircraft carrier, mini aircraft carriers that'll be smaller than those battleships, but wider, kind of wider. And there's room. They have a little there to pop up the little fighter that goes wee off the edge. Good times. And the best part is you'd have to have players that are like reloading the bombs and whatnot, because that's how this game works. Man. Oh, yeah, I'm tickling my wife's fancy again. Anyway, so the reason for that is because you don't want to give one side access to an aircraft carrier, even a submarine aircraft carrier that only maybe has 2 planes, right? And the other side not having them, and there being a use for an aircraft carrier, getting aircraft in specific locations for surprise attacks or scouting for the fleet or something, right? You get all the cries of "It's not fair." I mean, never mind that they've had their battleship submarine for so long, and we have no equivalent.
The Collies have been maybe too long.
Those bastards.
They've been coddled a little too
There's
much.
a little too much coddling. Every
Coddling the Collies.
Every time the Wardens win, we get nerfed. But it's funny to talk about. The faction war is fun. But yeah. But if both sides already have an aircraft carrier, I think they both would be accepting, though there'd still be a lot of jealousy, that the Warden super sub would have the aircraft carrier element, and then the Collies super sub would have the battleship element. And they could even buff the battleship angle of that submarine more or something. Maybe make it a 150 millimeter cannon or something crazy. The idea being make sure both are really useful. Yeah, part of what would help too is if that's another day. But yeah, I just really want to see it happen. Technically, I don't see any reason why it couldn't happen. The biggest technical hurdle I would imagine would be one. Well, no, not even that. They already have. So it's interesting trying to think from the dev perspective how they would functionally pull this off. Because I was thinking there might be something difficult for the assets having one asset on top of another asset, if that makes any sense. A lot of games coding don't play nicely that way. But as you can see, they already have that for the infantry that they can run on top of the ships and all that, and the ship moves. And they actually already have that with land vehicles. With the landing stuff, they can drive on and off of them. They seem to have some method. Basically, they cheat a little bit with the cranes, where when a vehicle is packaged and lifted on a crane and onto a ship, it becomes, it like deletes it in a way. They're now something different. It's just a static object now that can't be interacted with once it's on the ship. And so, but they seem to have, with the bigger ships that can make landings, they've allowed them to drive on and off of those. So I think it's workable now. I think all the technology that they would need is already in game, right? Because like those landing ships, instead of a tank, it would just be a fighter and it would be at sea. Now, the thing is,
Fighter at sea. I don't
fighter
even know.
at sea.
Stop.
Anyway, so the other part would be the landing in the water. I thought, well, maybe that would be a bit of a challenge, right? But then I'm like, well, hang on. We already have amphibious cars in game. Basically, there's a Jeep and then there's an armored car that can go up on beaches and stuff and then go on land or go into water and not blow up. So they're obviously going to have to come up with an animation and stuff for planes going into the ocean and dying when they run out of fuel or something. Because a noob is going to get a hold of one of these planes and run that thing dry of fuel and go boom. And some angry clan man is going to get on that noob's ass, let me tell you. Like, it took me 10 hours to make that plane, you faggot. At least lose it to the enemy. Trust me, you should see how they are with the harvesters sometimes.
Oh gosh, I suggested one guy, hey, are you gonna take that to run over some collies? Silent.
Don't talk to me.
He was taking all the components. I like.
Components are used to make tanks. Deal.
Can you share something?
Tanks full, arms full.
As soon as the components are like right there, everybody just swarms. I'm like, whoa, mine.
You just wait till 2 a.m. when no one's on, and then you jump on. Or there's a sweet spot.
I was on for 12 hours one day, okay? And you know how quick
online?
I don't care anymore. You know how many times I have tried? As soon as I get there, I'm like, good, it's full. Oh no, and they take forever to reload.
It does. You woke up a child. You're so. Where's Mom? She's making loud noises about video games. Where? God, I love that woman. I still can't believe how hooked she got it. She's not like what you would consider a gamer girl, really. Like, she liked games. I got her playing some games. She used to play like Call of Duty and Battlefield with me, but not seriously. Like, she would, I'd die, I'd hand over the controller. She'd play for a little bit and laugh, and then we'd have a good time. But it was never. This game has really sucked her in, and I find it hilarious. Every aspect of it. She loves the combat. She loves the building stuff and facilities. It's really cute. But we're trying to bring myself back in. So, as I was saying, because they already have the vehicles that can go in and out of water, and they're already going to have to make animations for planes crashing and dying in the water, all they need to do is apply that amphibious code or whatever to the specialized airplanes. Now, obviously, I'm recognizing that means they're making a seaplane. Seaplane, right? which is a whole nother vehicle they got to make. But it'd be cool. Come on. Siege Camp, you want seaplanes. And you can give seaplanes to both factions. They can just be a little different in what they do. You can give, to shake things up, you can give the Collies a bigger seaplane. That's kind of like a bomber / transport plane, right? Those existed. The Germans actually made the biggest version, like the biggest sea boat ever was a German design. Excuse me, airboat ever was of German design. It was very impressive, very large, very cool, and it made sense why they wanted to make them when they were designing them and stuff, because they to interact with the waves when they didn't have aircraft carriers and they had lots of planes. So if you gave one side a tiny little sea fighter, it makes sense to give the other side something a bit bigger, maybe some firepower, or maybe just for cargo hauling or inserts or whatever, but can land at sea. Right? I think that's fair to start with, and you could even eventually give them a seaplane and give the other one a version for the Wardens. So I don't see why they wouldn't be able to technically pull off a seaplane inside the game engine. All the pieces are there. I imagine there would be some bugs to work out, but using the code for the amphibious cars mixed with whatever code they're making for the lowering into the water, except with the not dying at the end.
Didn't even get to the part about the partisans.
Can't even get to the river. And then they already have cranes in game too. So crane, pick it up, put it on the thing,
Cranes,
and then you can
baby cranes.
the cranes, and then you can put it inside your pretty little thing, or rearm it and release it into the wild again. Release your seaplane into the wild.
Catch and release.
Yes, I would settle for seaplanes to start with, and then the submarine aircraft carrier. See, I'm a patient, long thinking man.
I like those colors over there.
See, I wouldn't be able to handle Star Citizen if I didn't have this in my bones. Like I'm like foreseeing like years in the future, assuming they don't want to implement the new technology that they're making in Anvil Empires into Foxhole. Now, with that, there's a couple ways I could go about that. They could rehaul the entirety of Foxhole 1 to make it seamless. Make a Foxhole 2. Both. The first one is the best for the community for obvious reasons, because they don't have to make a transition or anything like that. However, it's very technically challenging because you'll have all this back coding debt from the other engine that they'd be trying to slap this new thing on. It's like trying to take a Ferrari's engine and put it into the body of like a Ford Pinto and expecting there to be no problems. Something's going to break.
Well, Ferraris are like tinfoil anyway.
But you get to put the powerful engine in something it wasn't designed to be in. Something is going to break. Be very quiet. It was definitely the little lady. Sorry, but I'm under attack. Well, you got an hour in. Oh, God. Now, that wasn't exactly as pleasant as I would have liked. She tried to kill me. Happens sometimes. Because she hasn't finished her wine yet. But I think, again, all the pieces, it would be more of a balance question, right? Would eventually have to give both sides a version of a submarine aircraft carrier, maybe to make everybody happy, so everyone gets to play with it. But then they would have to give both sides the Battleship submarine too. But they would have to, because they never do like carbon copies on both sides. Like you saw the extreme variety of tanks. They never do one tank the same, if you know what I mean. They have tanks that fulfill each role on both faction sides. It's one of those things. Yeah. Oh, I guess I should finish that tangent I was going on. So It's clear to me that the devs at some point will, once they perfect or get it to the point where they're happy with it, the technology that they're developing for Anvil Empires, the new game engine that allows them to get rid of the hexes. Well, I'm sure they'll keep some form of them to like say, oh, this is where something is. But basically, right now, you go up to a border of a hex, you have to wait, and then you into that other shard or that other server that's running that hex, right? Anvil Empires is getting rid of all of that, and it's all one seamless experience. And they have a much bigger map planned and more players in one spot playing. If they pull that engine off, it only makes sense that they'll want to implement it in Foxhole. And back to the analogy of putting the Ferrari engine into the Pinto, something's going to break. So on one hand, on a technical perspective, it makes sense to just start over and make a Foxhole 2 with this new seamless experience. But then you have the question of, boy, you got to get everyone on Foxhole 2. Now, on one hand, how much encouragement, because that seamless experience, man, it sounds really nice. Like right now, like I think because update wars are always really busy, and we did just have the infantry update, which added some new melee stuff. They rehauled the infantry combat. They added some vehicles and some new facilities that are fun to play around with. Brings a lot of people back whenever there's a big update. It's not that big. It was more of the side update before the Airborne update, but it was a lot of nice stuff that they fixed in it. So I enjoy it. But I'm slowing down here. Show them you live. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you're gonna throw your cat balls in everyone's face. I don't know why he does this every time. Why does he want to show his balls to the world? Get out of here, cat. What are you doing back there? You're so distracting, puss. All right. Yeah. You're going. Okay. So, right. So, from my perspective, because I already want to give Siege Camp more money at this point anyway, I kind of wish they would just go for a Foxhole 2. The problem is, like I said, they've spent 7 to 8 years developing this game. It's 2024. Yeah, they started in 2017. It's almost been 8 years now because it's December, right? I don't know when they released it in 2017, but that's when they released the first version. I remember playing it all the way back then. That was crazy. The amount of stuff that they have now compared to back then it's insane, and it's mind-boggling to think there was a time without bunker bases and stuff. So if they made a Foxhole 2, they would have to put as a baseline, I'd say 90% of what they have now if they expect the player base to jump to a new game, even with that new tech. Because, if your favorite type of tank isn't in the new game, you're going to be sad, right? Your favorite type of gameplay ain't in. Maybe they haven't implemented the big ships yet. Well, you probably still would want Foxhole. But from the developer's perspective, they would need everyone to kind of jump on the new one without having to keep servers running for the original game. So from that perspective, it makes sense to try to take the Lamborghini and put it in the Pinto. I don't know what the right answer is. I suspect they already know kind of what they want to do with that, which is also why I suspect that instead of just making a Foxhole 2, they made a completely separate game, the Anvil Empires. So it's still very similar, but medieval. And also, you've been working on the same project for, say, 7 years. Wouldn't you want to shake things up with something a bit different? Right? But I also think that Star Citizen might pay a little attention to Foxhole. On one hand, Star Citizen has a lot more updates every single year, but Foxhole does a lot better job of making its updates, though there are less of them, more substantial. Like, you really feel a new update in Foxhole. Hardcore. There's actual big changes. And there are huge changes in Star Citizen. Don't get me wrong. Like, if I remember when I started playing Star Citizen, there wasn't even looting in the game yet. Like I had to do this crazy weird thing where I would grab the gun, put it in my global inventory. Like you could only loot guns. You had to grab it out of the gun. You had to put it on your person. Then you had to like put it into your global inventory. And then like it was just this crazy system I did to loot guns when I first started playing the game. And now, man, you can loot like everything in that game. But I think they would do well to look at how Siege Camp, the things they've picked, because if you notice, though they've added new assets like new vehicles and stuff, they haven't added a lot of like new maps, new things, new spaces to go to. They have changed the hexes into island hexes for the naval update, but those hexes were always supposed to be islands. They'd only changed them to peninsulas because naval wasn't very fun before the naval update, if that makes any sense. So that was always supposed to be islands. So I don't really count that. They just kind of went back to earlier designs and then updated. What I'm trying to say is most of what they've been doing ever since they started Anvil Empires has been not a lot of asset work, if that makes any sense. They make one or two new things, and then they add the UI and everything around them. And then, for example, the new update, we got 2 different types of tanks. We got some new medical facilities. So that was a new hospital looking thing, a new hospital bunker piece that you can make, and then a new hospital train car, and then a couple of melee weapons, and then another facility, box facility thing. Which, if you really go for your head, that's not that many assets they made. The amount of, say, new assets they'd have to make or repurposing of old assets to, say, make another hex for people to play in would be substantial. And honestly, they probably should be adding some more because they've been having to do a separate shard, so 2 servers, if you will, to accommodate all the players every time there's an update. The issue with that is people only list the victory on the Alpha shard, or the is it Able shard? The Charlie shard, its victory or loss isn't really counted. So it's fun to play in it, and you generally have less queues, but it won't be listed in the war memorial of like a win or a loss. And that's kind of, you feel kind of, it doesn't matter, and no one's going to count who won. Yeah, matters apparently. So the answer to that is to spread the gameplay space out into a larger space, which they've done as their player base has grown and they've had more content to add. But they've stopped doing that ever since they've done Anvil Empires. Probably most obvious because all those guys who've been making those assets and making making new maps to play on are making the Anvil map right now. It makes sense. But if you could see like who would be making a tank, probably wouldn't have much to do right now in a medieval simulator. I'm not saying the guy who makes the tank can't make a sword in game, but they're more concentrated on the technical stuff and getting the gameplay right in Anvil before they're adding new crazy stuff. So it makes sense why we're getting lots of new tanks and new vehicles and new guns and new that kind of stuff, because those devs aren't needed in Anvil Empires yet. But all the devs who would be making new hexes are needed over there. So it makes sense to me that they've been splitting up their manpower properly to keep content flowing while testing out Anvil Empires. Oh, little lady had to come back up. You're just lonely in there, little lady. What is this about little toddlers when they get to this stage where they suddenly want to sleep alone? Little punks. So, oh man. I believe I had a point to get to with that, but now my brain is functioning quite slowly. She wants more milk. I think I was actually going all the way back to, I'm far thinking, I'm okay with them waiting a few years before we get the aircraft carrier submarine. I'm okay with that. Just as long as it happens before Foxhole 2 or before they try to shovel the Lamborghini engine into the Pinto body. Also, it'll be really interesting to see what they do once Anvil Empires gets to its next stage of development. Will they hire more staff? Will they stop producing content for Foxhole for a little while? It's hard to say. And will they make more maps and stuff for Foxhole when the environmental guys are done with the big map they're making over at Anvil? I don't know. Will they come up with a method for me to give them more money? I can't even buy Anvil Empires yet. I can't even buy their new game because they don't consider it ready enough to sell. Shut up. I'd find $40. I should do a stream on ways that they could. It is funny though. Like I was gonna say, they could try some of the like selling skins and whatnot. And I know most people don't like that, but I would like to point out, if it gives the developer more money and they don't do it wrong, it's not that bad of a thing. Within reason. And I point to games
the
that
team skin would be great. With the stripes on the band they
Well,
have.
you know, funny enough, you could probably find a mod that does that. Like I just saw a guy who has a mod who turns all the little trooper guys you saw in there into clone troopers. It's very entertaining. And they like shoot little lasers at each other. Yeah. The mods get crazy in this game. Probably a little too crazy. There's one that makes all the guys shirtless, which makes me uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. These
and make each other furry outfits.
don't give them ideas.
They probably already thought it.
No.
There's already that joke around.
No. I think she's out of milk. Oh. She's being so cute, right? Sorry, my daughter is very distracting. Yes, more distracting than aircraft carrier submarines. She's like doing this hilarious pose right now. She's so tired and confused. Why is Dad still talking and not in bed? I don't know, girl. I don't know either. I feel like I've already talked the topic to death. Oh, man. Trying to think if I put anything else in the description to make sure I talked about it.
Mention anything about Star
Up every now and then.
Okay.
You know, I'm kind of waiting before I talk more about Star Citizen for this negative wave to calm down a little bit. We're in one of those downturns. Everyone's freaking out. They didn't make as much dollars as they did last time, and they let some staff go. I don't know if it's as big as the deal as everyone's saying. If it is a big deal, then hey, it's good. It'll get their attention it'll light a fire in their ass to get some more stuff out faster. If it's not as crazy as a bunch of people are thinking, then it's just drama, and they're going to get things out as they get things out. My guess is they just had some mediocre ships that people weren't really interested in. All they got to is saying hi to the little babu.
I told you he loves her.
Aww. Now, if only he would pee in his litter box properly. Life can't be perfect.
It's quite my fault.
Yes, it is.
We'll say how it's.
I'm tempted, but I'll avoid it. So, I think most people, when it comes to Star Citizen right now, they're at this point where they're waiting for 4.0 to finally come out. And they were just told they have to wait longer for Star Citizen Squad 42. And a lot of people falsely thought it was going to come out sooner. And then you have this whole wave of people who either weren't paying attention for the last 10 years.
People don't read.
This is true. Or listen, like these were in videos.
They were in
videos. There's a whole cadre of people who are confused that Star Citizen is going to have Eve-like elements in it, which is basically like, oh, you're coming over here? Well, I love you too, little lady. Oh, go to your mom. She'll help you. She coming around? Yeah, she is. Wait a minute, you just finished off my coffee. I thought that was your drink. You cruel woman.
Wife tax?
Wife tax. Anyway, it's so funny. The people who get into Star Citizen and meow. Careful, Arcanes. There's the clan I like to hang out with, and
They all meow.
they meow to annoy the enemy or their teammates, depending
I
if
was
they don't
getting
like them.
scrap one time, and they're going meow meow the whole time, and I'm like, it's literally in your name, isn't it?
Yeah, meow. Yeah. It is actually surprisingly annoying to do to the enemy. I have done it. It is a useful tactic. Get in a trench or something, they can't kill you, and just start meowing at them.
I should have done that.
Yeah, it's fun, huh? They hate it.
They would hate it more if it came from a woman.
It's true. There was one time I had a guy on a barge doing a tactic. Like he was just he couldn't do anything to us. We couldn't kill him because he was just out of range, and he was just banging the horn on the barge over and over and over, and it was so loud. I was like, "This is an actually effective tactic," and I'm shocked.
Like, you know how you and I would do missions and then
Yeah,
on separate boats. Yeah.
And by the way, my wife is rocking the baby to sleep. She's not just rocking back and forth.
Sometimes I would rock myself to sleep. I'm joking.
And then,
No.
so, all that to say, whatever it is and whatever's going to happen, I'm waiting for it to kind of pan out a little bit and people calm down. Then they'll work out the kinks and the bugs around 4.0. My computer can barely run Star Citizen as it is, so.
I can't wait for the mining aspect of it. You know?
There's already a lot of mining.
I know that, well, not mining, crafting.
But crafting attached to
Because
mining.
let me tell you something. With that, oh gosh. Star Citizen and Foxhole.
Wife will have no life. She will enslave my children to go into the online mines.
Homeschool.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what it is. Make it Math Blaster somehow.
That's easy. Just have them run the factory for me.
There you go.
You can't accuse me of child labor.
It's technically a video game. See? It's not work. Oh, man. But yeah.
Great way to introduce chores in the house.
And I suspect most people are actually doing what I'm doing now, because Star Citizen's in a really... It goes through waves of being more playable and less playable. And if you have a poor computer, it's always less playable, like me. But when it's in a worse state, when they're in a transitionary period for like extra tech they're putting on, it's really bad. And it's really bad right now. So I just assume most people aren't going to buy a ship that they can't use in game right now or in the near future, and are just cooling their heels waiting. I do also think that they've done too many nerfs of the combat ships, so you can't expect people to get excited for a new combat ship if they expect it to get nerfed after they buy it. Right. So
yeah, I remember that video.
Naturally, their sales are going to be down. But I still see people interested in it. It's one of those games that, like Foxhole, people like get burnt out on, and then they come back, and they get burnt out, and they come back. It's fun. It'll get there. I should also show, like, just like I brought up, right, the tanks on the cruise ship. There's just, once they get things a little more stable and the sandbox is available again, people come back. Because you don't get that kind of sandbox anywhere else. Space engineering to a degree. But the thing about Star Citizen is none of what they've announced is a surprise. What's surprising is they actually stuck to their guns that they've been talking about for so long. That's the surprising part. I kept expecting them that they would change their minds on some stuff or think it was too much to go for. But no, I mean, we're even getting the darn sandworm, which I'm kind of cracking up.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
It's fascinating.
They did a very interesting trailer on that. I remember.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very fascinating. And yeah. So on that front, coolie heels a little bit. Wait for 4.0 to come out because there's a wipe coming with that as well. That's another thing. Announce the wipe right before the IAE. And are you going to buy a new ship when everything's going to go bye-bye? No, you're not going to do that. Even though you would keep the ship you bought with real money, you still, you don't want to play the game right now because it's about to get wiped. You only want to do that if you're interested in the testing aspect and trying to 4.0 out the door. But they don't even, like, most people don't have access to those test servers yet anyway, so. Yeah. I don't know if there was a way to do the timing different, but it was probably not the best timing doing it right around Christmas. You know what I mean? But c'est la vie.
I remember in Star Citizen around Christmas time they have a little boxes, Christmas presents. You look around. Do they still do that? Or
they
no?
do that every year. They'll probably start that again. We'll probably get some free weapons again as they usually do. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you're part of Star Citizen, I'll be looking for that. You'll be able to unlock free stuff over Christmas. They always do that. Am I annoyed that in their damn lore it's a Jew holiday? Yes, I am. I am very annoyed. Yes, space Jew holiday called Luminalia. It even sounds Jewy to me. Doesn't it sound Jewy to you? Sounds
Illuminati.
This is very space Jew. God, you can't even get away from them in space. I'm having a moment like from Red Alert where Tim Curry's like, I'm going to the one place where capitalism, Jews haven't ruined it. Space! And then you get there and there's fucking space Jews. You just can't escape them. They're everywhere. Sleepyhead.
She does. She wants me to hold her. Like, every time I try putting her down, she'll start crying again.
Poor little thing.
I changed her diaper too, so.
Oh, that should help. Might have been the diaper that woke her up.
The diaper, and then,
Man, I'm slowing down here.
You slowing down?
I am.
Because I drank that last little bit of coffee.
I know you took the last bit of sugar from me.
Where all the great coffee grinds are.
Caffeine.
Well, the first 4 letters of caffeine is cafe.
We're in the lame. Calf.
Calf and decaf.
Don't even ask. Don't.
Calf. I don't need to know.
Anyway, I really need to troll around because I have this long list of games on Steam, and there's lots of fun little ones. But
I didn't realize how many of the games I have on my Steam account are very similar to yours.
It's true. We have similar tastes. It's very nice. The big thing is I want to expand my repertoire. For example, I have From Glory to Goo just sitting there waiting to be played on my computer, and I just haven't played it much. If you don't know what that is, that's they are billion style game, but with sci-fi elements.
Interesting. Space zombies?
Yes. More like space aliens. So that's the goo, if you will.
Gooey.
Kind of like it's the typical space zombie. It's an alien race technically, but they're space zombies. Like, the Flood are just space zombies. Did you say space zombies?
I said space zombies. You're like, I don't like aliens.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know.
They are functionally space zombies, but they are technically an alien race.
Idiots, sir. Functional atheists?
Functional. All right, you know what? I'm going to land the plane. I have it in me for 2 hours.
Is it going to nosedive? Because
we have the little thing. We're going to bounce on the waves. We're going to get picked up by our aircraft carrier submarine. It's going to be a good time. Remember,
it's the worst of times. Was the best of times.
Siege camp. Don't forget to give the Collies their smaller, more nimble submarine, please. If you give us a big submarine, just do it, and make sure they have an aircraft carrier too, because I can only take so much whining. Only so much whining. I mean, for crying out loud, they got the cool ass submarine with all the extra little gizmos, and they still whine about the Navy stuff. Like, look, okay, you get all this extra features that makes the submarine bigger, which means you're not as stealthy. Give and take, baby. You give and you take. Figure it out.
Apparently, Collies only know one thing: take.
Take. But it does make sense. I should do an analysis video of that. It makes sense why Wardens are owning the Naval game right now because, as I'm pointing out, the Collies generally are less organized. Generally, have more newer players on them.
Now, who's racist?
Racist is just they haven't formed as many big groups yet.
I know.
There's bigger clans, while there's a lot of smaller clans in the colonial group.
Because we're more organized. More organized crime.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, and so it makes sense that they would have trouble with these bigger ships that take a lot of people to pull together and practice and on that scale.
No, that's scale. No,
They sure produce.
Thinking the other day, I saw a whole bunch of them right there.
It was pretty fun. If it wasn't for that super Talos tank, we would have kicked ass.
I know.
Sad day, but it's okay. And that's the perks of the game, man. You can make a beautiful plan, but plans only survive contact with the enemy. No plan survives contact. That's the one. And that plan wasn't much more than, hey, is there any defenses here? Oh, there's no defenses here. This is great. Oh shit, there's a tank. That was funny.
There's like 2 tanks right there on that ridge.
It's not, including that Talos that killed us.
No, I didn't know you threw a smoke grenade because when you say dive or run or whatever it was,
That was a gas.
I was a gas grenade, whatever. I was expecting a boom, not like run because you're going to be seen, or you know what I mean?
No, wouldn't you run even harder if there was a normal grenade that could kill you?
I had a gas mask on. But
Oh, right.
You know
That
what I mean?
It's okay.
Okay.
Wife died in a hole.
I got Foxhole.
We're not going to say that I tried to throw a grenade from in the hole and it hit the rim of the hole and bounced back in my face. But that definitely happened. That happened. Yeah, that's why it didn't fly at them and it stayed in the hole with us. I was very irritated at myself. There was a little bit of computer lag and stuff going on there. Like
There was so much lag. Like the Jeep was having trouble with just driving straight.
Yeah, so basically what normally would have happened is my character would have stood up and thrown, but instead it didn't stand up in time and the grenade threw and bounced.
So he like
around.
crouching, but
Yes.
not really.
So in this game, when you're throwing grenades,
Yeah, you kind of lean back and Yeah.
and when you're in cover, you want to crouch where they can't see you and then stand up real fast and shoot or throw your grenade and then go back down.
Ooh.
I misjudged and the timing. And the grenade hit the rim instead of flying into the truck.
Is that what happened?
Yeah. That was very embarrassing. Very embarrassing indeed. That was fun finding on the Fahrenheit coast, though. Anti-tank grenades. Those are fun. I'm not going to lie. The new ones that can shoot out of our grenade launchers.
Tomorrow we go fight again.
If I have any juice, that's what we'll do. All right, everybody. I'm gonna shut down this stream. Just Star Citizen front. Wait it out a few months. Once 4.0 is out and not too buggy, people are gonna be positive about it again. It always happens. Remember, it was always meant to be a game that was a kind of a survival game, not quite Rust, but survival-esque game with elements of like. Looting and Tarkov and stuff in it, and also base building and industry stuff, right? There was supposed to be safer places in space and then more dangerous places in space. They're trying to accommodate a lot of different game styles. We'll see how much they can accommodate too. I like guys like Buzz Psycho, for example, but his strange confusion over the direction of the game shows that he lacks the comprehension skills. Okay, because this has been articulated what kind of game it was going to be for a very, very long time. It's guys like that. I love a lot of his opinions, but a lot of people A are freaking out over nothing. B should have been freaking out for a while because this has definitely been talked about and been articulated to their faces all the way down up back to when they were talking about Death of a Spaceman. and apparently no one was paying attention.
Death of the Space.
I was paying attention. I was not to be that guy, but I was freaking paying attention. And the base building and all that, the only thing I'm surprised about is the scale they were willing to go to. I wasn't expecting them to be willing to go the whole scale. That's exciting. We'll see what they do. Also, I'm annoyed at all these people mad that 1.0 will only have 5 star systems. We were promised 100. They said they're going to keep building more. 1.0 is just considered their baseline. Okay, the game is out, but we're making more. What are you mad about? They're still going to make as many systems as they can. They're not going to stop making them at 5. It's just 5 is when they're going to consider it 1.0 and have a feature complete. That's like the bare baseline they feel like they need to have a complete feature list. And they're probably going to add to those features. Like, to help you understand why that's annoying that people are freaking out and like, where's my 100 star system coming? You might be a 50-year-old man. If you're 20 now, you might be 50 by the time they're all out. The point I'm getting at, there's a baby there. I should probably keep doing this. With that is they're not saying they're not going to make any more star systems. That 5 star system thing, that should actually excite you. What's going on here?
You feel that right there? That spring?
Mm-hmm.
Right here?
Whoa, what the hell did you do to it, woman?
That's the kids. But they did see that chair, so I'm sitting on the spring this entire time. All right.
You have a bony butt, too. Anyway. Bony lass. Anyway. Lass.
The bone bass reach.
So, what that means is they feel like they need at least 5 star systems to give us enough content to match the systems that they have planned, the gameplay systems. Does that make sense? That doesn't mean they're going to stop at 5. That doesn't mean they don't want to add the 100, which was the original plan. It means to get all of their systems in place and feel that it's feature not a complete and like a actual game. Like a game, they're going to need at least 5 star systems. Since only they're going to start with 5. Understand? Are we on the same page? Again, comprehension skills of the average human being seems to be an annoying sore spot in anywhere in my life.
And
how many
AI? Like, people are idiots.
Like, remember when I had that more negative stream, right? I was just talking about how they've said this already, but I realized why they do it is apparently they have to say it 5 billion times
They have to say
before
it.
people A, remember it, people B, believe them when they say they're going to do it. It's
before they make a stupid act about on their stupid clip.
It's so frustrating. Now, that said, that isn't to say that's a lot of this, just the marketing of it. It's god awful. Also, the nerfs were really just bad ideas. They really were. They said, 40% of the kills were from the, the Corsair. And like, well, first of all, it's an alpha. So let people have fun. And if they're testing out the Corsair, great. If you're worried that it's too powerful, boost all the, buff all the other ships. Don't nerf the Corsair. I don't even have a Corsair. Just buff the ships that you think need to be stronger up against it. Not really a hard thing. And I already talked about how it feels like the Redeemer is going to be more geared towards killing fighters and medium ships and medium bombers and that kind of thing. Yeah, and then they want the Paladin to be geared towards sub-cap and smaller cap ships. I get what they're going for with that, but it was a poor way to do it. Very poor way to do it. And again, you can't make the argument that the size 5 guns were too much for the Redeemer, being the size of the ship, because you're literally getting 4 size 5 guns on the Paladin. Double the amount of size 5s that the Redeemer got nerfed out of. Awkward. And again, personally, I don't think they make the Paladin stronger. I think what they were doing was, again, trying to make different classes of gunship, right? The Redeemer was like the only gunship we have. So to have variety in the gunships, you would probably have the idea would be to have some gunships that are geared more towards bigger ships that are bigger than what they are, and then some designed to destroy lots of smaller ships around, right? It just makes sense. They already have this that is designed to take on lots of fighters. It has lots and lots of size 4 turrets. The Perseus, which is pretty much the same size, is designed for punching at bigger ships, capital ships, and subcap ships with their 4 size, like their 2 size 6, 7, whatever they have a lot
Size
of big
6,
guns on that ship. It's not out yet, but it's like 4 size 6 guns or something like
When
that.
are they gonna get that one out? Did they say?
Their rumor has it they're working on it right now.
Okay.
It would be really cool to see it in game, but big butt, little butt, who knows? And then again, right? Everyone has this mindset now that they'll nerf that too. I don't think they can nerf the Perseus though because of its design. And again, Star Citizen, don't nerf the Perseus if you think it's too powerful when it comes out.
Nerf the others.
Buff the other ships that you think need to be competing with it. Like maybe find a way to buff the Hammerhead. So, that's why I think that's what they were going for with the Redeemer and Paladin. You can think of the Paladin as a smaller version of the Perseus, and then the Redeemer a smaller version of the Hammerhead. And I know why they did it. The Redeemer has a lot more turrets, but they're smaller turrets. But the way this game works, the bigger the gun, the bigger the big boy gun, like the size 6 bullets and guns, are much slower moving, so they're a lot harder to hit smaller targets like fighters. So the smaller turrets on the Redeemer accumulated have I'm assuming, I gotta check all the numbers, will have similar DPS to the Paladin. However, you'll need more people to get all that DPS, all that damage per second. And that way that's much more orientated towards smaller ships, killing all the fighters and things, right? And then your Paladin's going to be much better at attacking something like a Perseus or a Hammerhead. And again, with the Hammerhead, it's much more focused on the smaller fighters, and the Perseus is much more focused on hitting ships bigger than it or the same. Yeah? And I'm suspecting that they're going to do similar things on a lot of different levels. Again, it makes sense if you want variety with your gunships, and this is only the second gunship that they've made.
How many were they planning on? Are they planning on doing?
Who knows?
Okay.
Like they make a lot of ships.
Yeah, it's like the ideas that they get from is just
the problem is,
but then you can only go so far.
But people are kind of more interested in industrial ships than combat ships right now. Yeah, which is part of the problem. And again, there was all that nerfing of all those other combat ships that still stinging in people's minds. So they're too nervous, they're too gun shy to buy new combat ships because they keep getting nerfed every time.
Yeah.
And so the CIG's lost a lot of trust because they've done these nerfings. And you could argue that the nerfings were necessary, and I'm sure from their perspective they were for what they want. But again, they would have done better buffing a bunch of stuff and keeping their goodwill with the fan, those people who bought those ships, right? Because from their perspective, from the customer's perspective, it looks like they were sold something and then that thing was changed on them. And the reason why they sold them no longer exists.
And knowing how much money people spend on this game. I could see why they would do that.
It's a bad juju. It's bad juju.
It's a bad Jew.
It's a bad Jew. Don't listen to those Jews, Chris Roberts. Don't do it. A lot of that drama will pitter out, especially as they start getting things like pyro in and base building in and their crafting system in. It's going to be really interesting to see how that goes. Now, a lot of people are already freaking out about the details. They're going to work out the details. They are already changing the flight model again, which is fascinating. we'll see what that turns into. Oh, the fight model. Nope. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. I think next Friday, the next Grizzly Gaming stream, I'm going to try and pick some other game to talk about too. Maybe we'll probably still bring up Foxhole and Star Citizen because those are the like go-tos, because they're the games that are constantly updated, so there's always new stuff to talk about, and there's so many different facets to them, so many different little theory crafting and idea crafting and all this other stuff you can do, all these different tactics you can think of. So it sticks in my mind, and I could talk about it for hours. Case in point, we're almost in 2 hours. So I gravitate to it. I gotta find more games like that, and they're
You
rare.
get lost in
They're
those
rare.
games
They're rare.
throughout the day. It's really funny.
They're rare. I gotta be careful with it. Okay. Well, do the like, subscribe, share, leave comments. Comments are always nice. I like comments. And yeah, come back every Friday for more video game streams. As time allows, I'll be wanting to add more content, but
I can't wait to the point where we could actually play a game on stream.
yeah, right now the internet our internet won't allow it.
Because it would be fun.
It would just break. Our internet can barely handle YouTube videos these days. Barely handle our streams, let alone having a game using up internet bandwidth and then stream bandwidth as you stream on top of it. No way. No way.
Whatever program you use to
Everything would explode. But
someday.
all right. Tomorrow, gotta get working on this, is the every Saturday we have our creepy video podcast that comes up, the Grizzly Files. And you do some editing for that. But yep, every Saturday at 5 p.m. I release one of those. And then every Sunday we have Sunday school lessons. They pop up in written form every Sunday at 9:30 on Archaven. I'll leave links. You can join the Discord and stuff if you want to catch that.
And Monday we do this.
Monday we go over that Sunday school in a stream. I do want to add a couple more video uploads or something throughout the week, but I have 4 kids. The oldest is 5. The youngest is 1.5. And I have a full-time job, and I'm trying to write books.
And
God,
might be crazy for a little bit, but hopefully.
Yeah. Oh, and for my clan mates on Foxhole, I promised to make a lore story about our battleship that survived War 117. I think it was
War 117.
War 117. I got to get on that.
I know
it's been weeks.
I know there's a war we don't mention anymore. Or the one that was awful. No. Okay. The one before that? War
116?
No. Was it 115?
Yeah, War 116. We lost several wars in a row, if that's what you were wondering.
Yeah.
Everyone was learning how to use the naval stuff.
I just remember when, every second, 20 will come into one pool.
Yes, it's true. That was bad.
They don't like to mention that.
That was War 116.
116.
117 was when we made a comeback.
Was the one, and then the beautiful finish.
And then 118 was the war that ended early because it was a game dev thing that they had to start the new. And then War 119 is what we're on right now. That's right. And that's how long, by the way, these wars are, right? Remember how I said they've been listing each war. We're at War 119 since the start of the game, all the way back in 2017. Crazy stuff. So, not to be shill for Siege Camp, but I don't care. They're cool. I like them. Like I said, buy some Foxhole. Every update's free. A lot of fun. A lot of cool guys on there. Avoid the furries. I don't know what they're. Don't ask why they're there. Avoid, because it's literally a military sim where it takes tons of organization to get anything done, and lots of guys are working together to get things done. Why wouldn't government people just have some eyeballs in there to watch those kinds of guys who can work together, you know?
Is that what the Collie partisans are?
I think there's some of both sides, to be honest.
No, I know.
But that being said, you've all been awesome. Check out some of the other stuff. Oh, I do have other stuff on books. I need to get, you know what? We'll save that till I actually have stuff done on that front. Though I have a kid's book that is finished. David and Three Bears. There's a link in the description. If you have any kids or you know of any cousins or you have anything like that could use a good kids book, it's great. It's all about teaching your kids not to steal and to be brave and to trust God. All right. You guys have been great, but I'm tired. My baby's tired. My wife's tired.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay up till 3 a.m. again. Blowing up tanks. No, I won't do that to you.
Tomorrow, please. Do that.
It is tomorrow. It's 12:40.
Oh, you idiot.
All right, I'm out.
Ending it on that note.